Hello students. In our earlier lecture we discussed on the characters of the short story that is presented to us in the syllabus. The students of SYBA will come across the various authors who achieved a remarkable name and fame in the history of literature. And in this regard, the contribution made by Afro American novelist, dramatist is also significant. One of the author that won her name is Alice Walker. Alice Walker is Afro American writer who writes on the petty say issues, but these issues, as I have introduced in our earlier lecture, that it stands for the conventionality and the happiness that is looked in. So, in this regard, the quilt which is in everyday use has been made a subject of the story. So, Alice Walker, the story or the plot of the story goes like this. We need to go through the story in detail so that we can understand what are the incidents or eventualities that takes place. The story is been presented from the mother's point of view. Then narrator of the story is the mother. The mother with her daughter Maggie, both of them were sitting in their home yard. The yard has been cleaned and it is serving as an extended living room. Since all their sittings, they used to keep the chair into the yard and it was almost clean and was always treated just like an extended living room. The sides of it were grooved. It is habitual to come and sit and to look at the roads, looking for the breezes that runs across. Maggie. Maggie won't be happy until her sister comes and laughed. Maggie was waiting in the corner. She was hopeful that Dee must come. Dee is her elder sister. Maggie would be safe if Dee comes early and goes off. Maggie was waiting in the corner behind the door. Her mother was sitting in the yard. She was ashamed of her scars that are on her arms. She always thought that Dee, means her sister, is lucky enough, and she hasn't heard no words. Means everything she demanded, Dee got it. The mother visualizes the TV program. She imagines that where the child's achievement, the mother and father both are around the girls, embracing the achievement on the reality show. The mother visualizes her in her dream that Dee is on the TV. The mother is shaking hands with the TV anchor Johnny Carson, and on the stage Dee is embracing her in tears in her eyes. Dee awarding with an orchid to her mother's dress. So, the mother was very hopeful, thinking very brightly about Dee, her daughter. The mother gives her self portrayal. She was very strong. She is large enough, big and fat woman with man like rough hands. She is a flat, uh, and when she keeps her cool, but when she is enraged, she can kill the boar in the war. She is fat. She keeps her own self hot in cold weather. She can even cook pork, bring water, ice. One winter, the mother, she had knocked the bull calf in the eyes and hung up for meat before the nightfall. But this show of prowess, adventures, bravery is not shown on the TV. That is the tragedy. Mother, who after visualizing all these things, she looks very confident. She was waiting for a white man. She was always angry in her talk with the white man. The always dashing with white men and look in their eyes. She was very confident. She felt no hesitation. Maggie has been lame, careless, and ignorant. She walks with hesitation, eyes on the ground, and she always stands behind the mother, feet, shuffling feet, and holding the mother's dress. She was ashamed of her scars, burned scars on her arms. The is very lighter. See her steps, she moved just like a gentle lady, lighter in her walk. Dee has very nice hair. She looks a full woman now. Dee has grown into a big woman. She was 10 to 12 years, and when the tragedy has happened, the house was burned, and how Mama saved Maggie from the burning house. The burning dress was falling apart. The hair of the Maggie were totally burnt. The hair's eyelids were also burned. Eyes wide open. Dee was outside the house, sticking gum from tree. Dee has studied at Augusta School. Dee wanted the nice things always. She liked to purchase very nice things. So Dee has studied and she was fondled. She was pampered. She liked yellow dress. When she graduate, she will put on this yellow dress, determined to stare down the disaster by her efforts. Dee had become now a woman. She is keeping herself dress fashions as per the contemporary age, and she was very conscious of looks in the age of, say, just 16 years. The mother never studied. She comes very close to second grade. The mother was ready to go by Maggie. She stumbles good. Maggie is likely to marry John Thomas. The mother would be free. When Maggie marries off with John Thomas, the mother won't have any responsibility burden, so she will be able to sit and sing the songs in church. She liked to milk cows smoothly. She liked to do all types of manly work. माणसांची कामं करण्यासाठी तिला खूप आवडत असे त्या आईला. The mother had turned down the attention to the house. It was 3 rooms, just like that burned down house. It was a pasture with no real windows. There were small holes instead of windows in the wall. When the mother was sure that they won't like her house, and they will certainly will tore down this house. She has a very different looks. She has very different expectations. So she won't like this house. The mother was sure. They never brought her friends to her home. She was ashamed of when she was in the college. She has a different look, fashionable look to look at. She has always cared for such a nice things. But the mother and Maggie managed to live in such a house. They had very few friends. She had a very furtive boys after the school when she was in the college. The friends praised her. They used to call her cute. They used to praise her shape and humor. They was in love with Jimmy. They would never pay attention to her mother. She judged him. But Ginity, who is not worthy to be trusted on, flew to city to marry a cheap type of girl and leaving thee behind. Thee was very sad when she was frustrated in the love affair. Thee was very sad over that. Maggie was standing behind the mother, made a dash for house, but stopped. Maggie made when with her heel she made a well the in the sand. When they came in the sunlight, it was very difficult to see when the glimpse of light and neat leg stepped out. When the car rushes in from the car, the steps out in the most recent fashionable dress. On the other side of the car come out a short and stocky man, hair all over his head, a foot long hair around his chin, like a mule's tail. Maggie signaled her mother with a sound. They appeared, dressed in a big down to ground in hot weather. The dress appeared to throw the hot views. It was shining. Earrings, gold earrings hanging to her shoulders, bracelets dangling and making noises. The dress is rather loose. As he walks closer, Maggie did again. Dee was her sister. Her hairs were straight up like a wool of sheep. When she comes closer, Dee, along with her husband, comes closer. She was perspiring. Gum alilastne. The stocky man, short man, followed her. He called him Assalamu alaikum. Dee introduced Assalamu alaikum to her mama and Maggie. He tried to hug her. Assalamu alaikum tried to hug her, embrace Alingandina. But Maggie fell back. See that? Dee came to her, but returned back to her car to take the Polaroid and took a snapshot of a yard around in the house. So she goes back to the car and takes out the Polaroid and took a snapshot of the camera of the house. Assalamu alaikum, meanwhile, hold Maggie's limp hand as a fish. She tried to pull back, but Maggie was shy. So he gave up. The mother wished to know. Dee named her as Vangero, Livanka Kimancho. The mother narrated her story behind naming DC to Assalamu alaikum. DC after the mother's sister. All of them called Big D. And it goes back like this. Assalamu alaikum was green. Looking down, Vangero said that her mother need not pronounce it. The mother wished to pronounce so that she get habitual again. Assalamu alaikum has twice big name, but he made the mother comfortable to call him Hakim, Baba. Assalamu alaikum was a barber, but she never asked, as he is a Baba. The mother asked about the people down there raising cattle, feeding cattle, firing fences, but Assalamu alaikum told he never belonged to them. They sat for food together to eat. They ate collads. Dee was interested, grinned everything. Dee was happy that they still used benches made by their daddy to eat. Dee ran her hands on benches. She suddenly remembered. She jumped run to John's school. She needed at a dasher. Aunt Dece's husband was Henry. The Vangero told her that she will use it as cute top for alcove table, something artistic with a dasher. They finished wrapping the dasher, made of yellow wood with thumbs and fingers sunk into the wood. They then went to trunk of her mother's bed roof. Maggie was in the kitchen. Vangero come out with 2 curls. They had been prepared by the grandma Day. One was the Lone Star pattern, while the other was Walk Around Mountain. They are made from old scraps of dress. 50 years ago, pieces, bits of grandpa's jewel, paisley shirts, tiny pieces of blue piece, Israel's uniform of civil war. The Vangero is now changed. Ask her mother whether she can take these quilts made by grandma for her. She can take these quilts made by grandma's pieces. But looking at this, Maggie third the kitchen door. Mother immediately came to realize the promise she made to Maggie. She has promised to give one quilt to Maggie when she marries with John Thomas. Dee had stung like a bee. Dee said Maggie never appreciated quilts and would use in everyday use. She will use it. Dee was insisting that Maggie would use and will throw away in less than 5 years. But Dee will keep them for years and years. The mother narrated. Maggie, she know how to quilt. But Dee was angry at mother. She restlessly told her mother to let the Maggie have her. And she was furious. Maggie was behind the doors. The mother looked at Maggie. It was Grandma Dee who taught Maggie to quilt. The mother went to room, snatched the quilts from tree, Vanquero's hands and put in Maggie's hands. Dee was very dejected. She turned to Hakino Barbara. Dee said that her mother never understood what she wished. The mother wished to know. It is the heritage, she said. Maggie was happy. Both of them, Dee and Hakim Baba, dropped into the car. Maggie smiled, a real smile, that Dee, without quilt, is leaving now. Both sat in the yard, watching the dust to settle after the car runs out, till it is time to go to house in the evening and to go to bed. So, the story is about Dee's visit and the family quilts. So, hope you will listen to this story and re-listen, watch again. If you find interesting, take down notes. First, how the plot is, how the things are happening, and what are the characters and what they want. If you are able to understand this, the job is almost done. So be careful in watching the video and taking down notes. Thank you.